What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to Blazers Uprise Live, powered by BetUS TV here on a Thursday. Today, we're going to talk about some trades, and we're going to take your calls. And we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. We just witnessed a 29-point comeback by the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're going to take a look at the Western Conference playoffs. It looked like almost every series was going to be 2-1 until OKC changed that. And I'm looking forward to hopefully talking to a couple of you guys with our Discord call-ins. So join the Discord. Click the link in the description box below. Hit that subscribe. Hit the like. Eric, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going all right. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a busy week in the NBA. You have John Horst. Is that how you say his name? He gets extended, which was surprising. The Bucks go down 2-0 in the playoffs, and he gets an extension. It felt very Blazer-ish. And, of course, you got ex-Blazer Damian Lillard over there, who is the subject of the thumbnail. We're going to talk about, his trade candidacy, and maybe the Blazers should bring him back. I don't know. We're going to talk about that. That's going to be an interesting conversation. But we're also going to talk about other trade targets, other pieces, what the Blazers should do this offseason if they try and get better. What would be the best options for that? Me and Eric have been on the record of being completely fine with being patient and actually trading away vets just to embrace the young core. But if the Blazers want to go for it, what should they try and do? We're going to have that conversation, and we're going to read off chat a lot tonight as well, see what you guys want to do, and that's going to be our stream. It's going to be our stream. So, Eric, man, let's just start off with the playoffs because you've had a lot of action today. I want to get to that first before we get into the calls and all that stuff. But let's start in the West, man. You can pick a series, you can pick a topic, pick whatever you want here, but I think it's been a very good Western Conference playoff so far. You just had the Clippers blow out the Nuggets. You had the Lakers and Warriors tie up their series at 1 apiece. It looks like you're going to have 3 competitive series here, so take your choice.
Yeah, I think the bottom 2 series will be clearly swayed by who wins Game 3. Much like the Clippers tonight, winning Game 3 and taking control of that series. Fortunately for the Warriors, came out tonight that looks like Jimmy Butler is going to be unlikely to play after taking that hard fall in Game 2. So that could swing this series back into the Rockets' favor. I know that's pretty devastating for your prediction, Tori, but that should make things very interesting in that series. But I think the story of tonight was the Grizzlies. Not that they really had a chance in this series, but they get up 29. Ja gets hurt, and then they blow that lead and are now likely going to get swept.
Yeah, injuries suck. Of course, they're unpredictable, but it doesn't really surprise me that the team to come back from a 29-point deficit is the Thunder, and it doesn't surprise me that the team to give up a 29-point lead is the Memphis Grizzlies. Those are 2 teams going in what I feel like are completely opposite directions. You have some quiet rumblings that Ja Morant might get traded this offseason, and this series is not going to help that, right? The Grizzlies haven't really made progress. They were really injury prone last year, but you remember when they were the 2 seed and young and fun and seemed like the next up and coming team in the West? It feels like a far cry from that. They barely squeak into the 8 seed. Ja Morant seems to have an injury issue or an off the court issue every season that kind of hurts that team, but they've just kind of stagnated. It's funny because Jaren Jackson Jr. last year, this year, he's been phenomenal. He took a step in the past couple of years offensively as a scorer. And you still have Desmond Bane, who's really good. He missed some time to start the season. But man, that team just doesn't seem like they have it. They're going to have to make an aggressive trade maybe for Kevin Durant this offseason if they want a chance in the West. But you just look at them compared to the Thunder. Just feels like they're too far away and they're not going to get better and they're going to have this turmoil with Ja Morant, whatever turmoil he causes, or maybe now it's going to be trade rumors this offseason. And They created some of their own turmoil when they fired Taylor Jenkins just to bring in whatever their new coach's name is, just to run a lot of pick and roll. They've been maybe the most pick and roll heavy team in the playoffs so far, and they had a great first half. They scored the ball well for the first 30 minutes of this game. And then, they had 31 points in the second half? 31 points. Their offense at times has been the ugliest offense in the playoffs because it's just pick and roll. But outside of Ja, you don't have a ton of good pick and roll players, and they just haven't been able to buy 3-point shots outside of a half today. So it's just, I don't think the coaching switch is doing them any favors right now. And it sucks because they were one of the young up-and-coming teams in the West, and now they look like they are clearly trending in the other direction.
But that was the whole point of the coaching changeover, was they were frustrated with the way Jenkins was running the offense. And Ja specifically was being fed information by their new coach that look at how the other teams use their stars. They spam pick and roll a lot. Jenkins is trying to take you away from being the most important part of the offense. And I don't know. I mean, I guess you can make the case that Salo didn't get enough time to implement anything else or do anything, because that was 7 or 9 games left in the season or something like that when they fired Jenkins. So he didn't really have a chance to do anything. And I guess the narrative is that they didn't have any practice time in between that.
Well, that's why you don't fire your coach with 9
Right.
games left until a playoffs.
But it will be interesting. It seemed like it was going to be a slam dunk that he would be the coach after this season moving forward, and now I'm not so sure.
I don't really see how. But I guess if he has a long-term vision that he wasn't able to implement, sure. But it's not even like Ja Morant has been any better. Ja Morant, of course, has a high impact even if he's not scoring the ball, just because the best defender is going to guard him, defenses are going to game plan for him. But Scottie Pippen Jr. was the better player in this game. Now, OKC at times in the first half was going under screens on him, and he was making him pay. I didn't really understand that. But it's not even like Ja Morant is feasting or having a huge impact, it feels like, on this series. He's been good, but when you're talking about Ja Morant, he should be having Jalen Brunson performances, and he's not, even though it seems like they've kind of tried to gear things towards just having him do everything.
Yeah, but, I mean, they didn't do well in the regular season. They lost a lot of games after making the coaching change. And, they ended up winning winning one of the playing games to make the play-in, I guess. But it was weird seeing the narratives around the team, because they were all like, oh, wow, the vibes are so much better. This offense is so much better. The results aren't happening yet, but you can just tell the progress they're making, kind of making excuses for it. And there wasn't much talk about, well, why did we fire Jenkins or anything like that. It was more so like, oh, he's got this team pointed in the direction they need to be. And I never understood that.
Yeah, I never understood that either. So once that series is done, we'll have some streams where we talk about, all right, this is the position the Grizzlies are in. Here's what they might look to do this offseason. And, of course, we try and tie it back to the Blazers. But, different teams looking to do different things can always have an effect on your team, depending on if you're a match for a trade. Now, I don't think the Grizzlies are just going to go trade for Jeremy Grant. But, I don't know. You got to hope a team gets desperate, right? That's the only solace. That's the only hope right now with a Jeremy Grant trade. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. This series is over. They're not going to come back. Ja probably misses next game. Next game is basically as important as a preseason game. They're not coming back in this series. So, GG. It's a wrap. You might as well throw GG Jackson out there in Game 4. I will say Memphis crowd was pretty impressive tonight. That's something I've been focusing on in this playoffs, Eric, is like who has the best crowds. I've been a little bit disappointed by Houston. I've been impressed by Detroit today was rocking. It sucks that they could not win. If you want to touch upon that game next, and then you got the Wall in LA, Steve Ballmer's Wall with the horse masks. I love that.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the story, but there's some data that showed the Wall was working. Opposing team shot by far the lowest percentage on free throws in that arena this year.
Yeah.
And or when facing the Wall, I guess. It was down around like 73% or something, and much lower than the league average.
Yeah, listen, let's build our own wall. If it works, it works. Let's build our own wall, man.
Yeah. We need someone as crazy as Ballmer to run it.
Yeah. We need our version of Ballmer, man. Whoever that is. But, yeah, so Detroit, New York. Give me your thoughts on that series, because I've been pleased with Detroit being competitive.
It's weird to say, but Detroit should absolutely be in control of this series right now. I mean, they lose a tough one tonight. They were up in the fourth quarter of game one and allowed a 21-0 run to let New York take control of that game. So yeah, they should be maybe up 3-0, if not 2-1, right now. And it's weird to say, but that team is legit, and if they stay healthy and add a few more pieces, they're going to be a tough out for several years, especially the way Cade's playing.
Yeah, I think the reason why they're down 2-1 just comes down to experience. You look at today's game, every single possession mattered, and it's always funny how in series like this, the more experienced team finds a way to squeak out a win like the Knicks just did in Game 3. And when, crunch time happens, they go on runs against lesser experienced teams. We've seen that for years in the NBA playoffs, and it's like, overall, you can make the argument that Detroit has played better. But New York has played better when it counts, if that makes sense. New York came up with that huge run in Game 1, won that game off of that. And then, Detroit had a really good stretch late in the first half. Tim Hardaway hit a transition three. They had that place rocking. They had a ton of momentum. New York answered that, right? Whereas a more inexperienced team might get a little bit rattled. New York answered that, built a lead, a double-digit lead. The Pistons fought back, but I always think playoff experience is a little bit overrated, but I feel like that series is the perfect counter argument to that so far.
Yeah, experience definitely matters. Knicks have been, in a few playoff battles recently. This is Cade's first playoffs. They have a couple players like Tobias and Tim Hardaway that have been in a couple of series, but overall, it's just way too inexperienced of a team. And you're right, in a 2-point game, that's probably the difference.
Yep. So the Eastern playoff picture, you got the Knicks up 2-1, the Pacers up 2-0. Do you want to touch upon that series really quick, and then we'll finish with the final game today, which was a shocking blowout to be.
Yeah, I don't know. Bucks just can't seem to get out of their own way. They don't seem to play together. I have never understood since Dame was traded there why you mentioned how Memphis spams too much pick and roll. The Bucks don't spam pick and roll at all. They have two of the better pick and roll players of all time, and they don't do it for some reason. I think they did it like it was either 7 or 9 times in Game 2 between the two of them, like a pick and roll. Like what are they doing?
Yeah.
And then there's plays. I don't know if you saw this one in particular where Dame is coming down the right side wide open.
Yep.
And Giannis passes over to the other side to Brook, and I forgot what happened, but they never even saw Dame, and he's just standing there wide open the whole possession. It's like, come on, man. And then, you also mentioned Horst, their GM, getting an extension today. It's probably good for us, I guess, with those picks. But, that guy, the Kuzma trade was horrible. I don't think he did enough in the last couple off seasons. And to have Kuzma be the guy you went after out of everyone that was available, it's kind of a weird situation. And
I think they would have been better off going for Jeremy Grant. I hated that Kuzma trade at the time, especially what they gave up, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, they'd be better off with just keeping Chris Middleton at this point. And also, was it AJ that got traded in that trade? Oh, it looked pretty good in some games in Washington. So,
you know what's funny about all that? Just side note, people just look at Washington being bad and like say they're dysfunctional, like the casuals that aren't paying attention to where they're taking their rebuild, which basically just started. They finally got rid of Bradley Beal, a couple off seasons ago. So they're just fresh into a rebuild, but they're not rushing the rebuild, so they're still losing games. So people just assume, it's just so dysfunctional. Dude, they cashed in Kuzma for good value. The Blazers can't do that for Jeremy Grant, okay? And then they get a first-round pick and Marcus Smart for... I don't even remember what they gave up in the trade.
Marvin Bagley and Johnny Davis.
Yeah. And they take on Marcus Smart and get a first-round pick. And it's just like, look at that, man. Look at that. So for Kuzma and literally taking on Marcus Smart, who's expiring this year, they got 2 firsts. And it's like, the Blazers don't even have 2 extra firsts on top of their own right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have one. They owe their lottery protected pick to Chicago, which could turn into seconds, I guess, if they never make the playoffs. And then they got one in 2029, which is the best of 3 teams. So that's better than the pick the Blazers gave up, right? That's not the argument. It's just like, they have Kyle Kuzma, and at that deadline, they find a way to get 2 first-round picks. They just accumulate capital. And then they are playing all their young guys. And their young guys all developed pretty well this year. And they have as good of a chance at Cooper Flagg as anyone. You know what I mean? It's like that team is going to be the next Pistons, especially like they're kind of missing their star maybe right now. Maybe it can be Alex Sarr. I don't know. Like they're kind of actually in a similar position as the Blazers. The Blazers have better role players, but like they need a star going forward. But man, like they're doing a good job, and it's just funny that Kuzma trade is like I wish we could cash in Jeremy Grant for a quarter of that value.
Thinking back on it too, why wouldn't they have roped those 2 trades together and gotten Marcus Smart instead of Kuzma? Like, I feel like he would have helped them a lot more.
Yeah. Kuzma I've never viewed as like a good role player on a contending team. Like he made it work in LA in the bubble. The bubble was just all kind of weird. Like whatever, he made it work. But since then he's become, I think, a little bit more ball dominant and a worse 3-point shooter. And in Milwaukee, it's like, I don't know, he's been terrible in this series. He cannot be your 3rd best player, your 3rd option. And it can't be Brook Lopez. Bobby Portis every once in a while can have a good game, but he's not reliable enough. And then it's like you freeze out Dame at times, it seems like. You don't run enough pick and roll with him, that he's a great pick and roll player, and you traded for him, so why aren't you running pick and roll with him? It's just all dysfunctional. Doc Rivers, terrible coach. It's all dysfunctional there. And
time to get serious, he said that.
Yeah, time to, was that the Sentol tweet?
Yeah, I was just joking.
I was making sure you didn't get Sentoled. But I think this illustrates a larger point about this offseason. I think you have a few teams, a couple of which have won championships in the past 5 years. Teams that feel stuck with nowhere to go, but the status quo is not good enough to contend. So it's like, it's like a fault line that's stuck. What does the earthquake look like? What if things change? They should change drastically for Milwaukee. The other team I'm thinking about is Denver, who got the brakes beaten off them today by the Los Angeles Clippers. The Nuggets lost 117 to 83. How you only score 83 points with Nikola Jokic, who had a 23 point, 13 rebound, 13 assist, 9 for 14 night. How you only score 83 points with that is beyond me. Beyond me. So the Clippers win by 34. Just boat race the Nuggets. We had the rumor about, the ownership doesn't want to trade Michael Porter trash can because he's from Missouri and they're from Missouri. And he's making a max for some reason. And they have very little draft capital moving forward. And he's the one big contract to trade, but now he's looking like a slightly negative contract, I think. And it's just the Nuggets are stuck. The Bucks are stuck. The Grizzlies aren't stuck in the same way, but it's they're trending in the wrong direction. And this is what's always fascinating about this time of year is these teams where they get completely stuck and aren't good enough.
Yep. I don't know, man. I think maybe.
Why is there double audio?
You need to meet me in Discord. Join the stage.
Oh, you just joined. There we go. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna take your guys' calls here in a bit. I already had you muted. I don't know why you were unmuted.
The Nuggets kind of feels like they very early in this game were just okay. I think I forgot what it was, 23-0 or 23-1 or 2 run the Clippers went on, and it just seemed like the Nuggets didn't really care much after that.
Yeah, that's insane to me. Could Jokic become the type of person to become unhappy?
I don't know, man.
There's the Blazers' next star, Eric. That's it, dude. The annoying thing about anybody like that becomes available is OKC could probably trade for him.
Yeah.
Screw OKC, man. That is the bad thing about them. They're not getting better. They're getting worse. They've lost key role players, and they have no way of replacing any of them, and they don't seem to really care to. They won a championship, and then it's okay, we can be first or second round fodder now. Which is kind of backwards, but at least they won a ring, I guess. It's just super strange. Super strange. So,
hey man, I'll take that if we win a ring.
Before we move on, what's your prediction for what the Bucks and the Nuggets do this offseason, assuming they lose in 5 or 6 games in the first round?
I think the Bucks, maybe they fire Doc, maybe they make some. I think they're gonna keep Dame and Giannis and try it one more time. I think maybe they try it with a different center, maybe different role players. It's just the trades they made kind of limited whatever they can do. So, and then obviously the way Kuzma's playing means you're going to get way less for him if you try to move him. So I don't know. You're probably stuck with him too. But I think they might just try to shuffle the deck again with maybe a different coach and just hope they have a little better health next year. But man, I wouldn't be surprised if they just completely blew it up too.
What do you think blowing it up would look like for them? Trading Giannis or just trading Dame? Because I think you might see Dame in some trade rumors this offseason. Legitimate trade stuff.
Well, it's weird. At some point would Dame ask out again? I know he's not. Here he was kind of forced to do that, but there maybe he would ask out if things don't go well. I don't know.
I mean, where would he want to go? Because he never wanted to really leave Portland.
Yeah, I think he's kind of lost that. I think it
Yeah,
would just be. I don't think he'd have the same
agency.
power
Yeah.
to make that happen to specific teams or whatever. I think they would just have to accept whatever the team that wanted the most was.
Yeah, and his trade value is probably lower than what the Blazers got back for him at this point, with him being a couple years older, right?
Hmm.
Like I saw a trade
For
idea
sure.
where it was like Orlando trades Jalen Suggs, Wendell Carter Jr., Cole Anthony, and a first round pick. I think it was like the 16th pick, or maybe it was Denver's pick this year for Dame, and it was like, man, would the Magic even do that? I don't think the Magic would even do that.
Yeah, I don't
And it's
know.
like Dame is still super talented, so in the right situation, it makes sense for a team to really be aggressive to trade for him. But he's going to be 35 next year, making a lot of money that you have to match, and you have to have a desperate point guard and scoring need. And so I don't know what they do. Now, I think the Bucks are interesting because Eric, I'm at the point where like if there is any team that the Blazers can trade Jeremy Grant for not negative value, like where they don't have to attach an asset. I feel like it'd be something like Grant and Robert Williams III for Kuzma, Connaughton, Chris Livingston, just as salary filler. I think you need like one or two more salary filler pieces in there because the Bucks should be able to be under the first apron even after making that trade. And it's like you get a center to pair with Brook Lopez as a good defender, good lob target for Dame if you're going to run some more pick and roll. I mean, Dame doesn't really throw lobs, but you know what I mean? Like, good pick and roll partner for Dame. And, like, if healthy, he can change a series. They need upside, right? Like, Robert Williams III doesn't have much value, but if he's healthy in the playoffs, he can have a legitimate impact on a series. And that's what the Bucks need, I think, like a defensive mobile big because Brook Lopez is, like, 36 years old. And then Grant is a Dame guy. Like maybe they think he could do a better job in there than Kuzma. They probably don't care about his contract because they're up against a wall anyway at this point with what they're trying to do. So like, do you agree that they would be at least a front runner potentially to actually trade for Jeremy Grant? Like maybe be one of the teams where the Blazers wouldn't have to attach an asset just to get off of Grant.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear what you're saying about Robert Williams too, but I mean, you can't count on him being available for a playoff series.
I mean,
But
this is how I'll phrase it. Okay, this is how I'll phrase it. I'd rather have a guy that might not play, but if he plays, you can count on him to produce, than a guy who's like, yeah, he's probably going to play, and we have no idea if he's going to be any good or not. Just like literally 70% of their rotation right now.
mhm,
So that was my thought.
yeah, yeah. As far as Grant goes, I do think a team like that could get desperate and without a lot of assets, since they owe us a bunch of picks. They owe, now Washington. I forgot if that was a swap or an outright pick or whatever. But they don't really have picks to trade in the future. So, yeah, I think it would be a case where Grant or a player like Grant might be one of their only options this summer.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Are there any other teams that come to mind for Grant that you think the Blazers could potentially
Um,
convince?
well, I've actually been working on an idea
Oh yeah,
for
I love
trading Grant, and
that's a
this is probably way too creative, but I have been going through the free agent list this summer, Tori, and my idea is to sign and trade for someone and overpay them. You know how we were talking about doing the Bruce Brown thing
yeah,
with with like if we got cap space to do it.
yeah,
So my idea now is to do that by matching Jeremy Grant's contract. Having you have to have it 3 years, but the second and third years do not have to be guaranteed. So, for example, signing and trading Jeremy to Atlanta for Clint Capella, making $30 million next year, and then his second and third years are non-guaranteed, and then we have like a $30 million expiring.
See, why wouldn't Atlanta just let Capella walk?
Because they get Grant for like nothing. Like I don't know if they want Grant. We could do the same thing with Ayton, right?
I mean, it's just like, well, they'd probably rather have nothing than have to pay Jeremy Grant. That's the tough part.
I think some teams, like, if it was that cheap to get Grant, I think it opens up a lot.
Well, I just think it have to see, like, a team like that though. It's like, okay, he leaves, we get a full mid-level exception. You'll probably sign just as good of a player on a better contract. So it's I like the creativity. It'd have to be like a very, I think, particular team, and I don't really know what team that is, because I feel like Atlanta would like Jalen Johnson, Bagley, Sachet, like,
well, it might
there's
be
probably better examples than
that.
Them.
Might be Brook Lopez is actually a free agent. You could do that with Ayton. I don't know.
With Ayton,
give them Ayton for Brook Lopez.
See, with Ayton being expiring, it's just kind of like whatever.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just trying to think of a way, like, because you might actually get some value out of that. But unfortunately, the Bucks don't have much value, as we talked about. But so I was just thinking, like, because this idea started a few weeks ago when I brought up the idea of like how we talked about trading Brogdon for Quentin Grimes in a first, and now Quentin Grimes is like
amazing,
gonna get a really good contract. Like, would we? Because I could see Philly. I don't know. Like, Grant seems like a Morey type player.
I feel like Morey type players are those types of guys maybe that are like much cheaper.
Yeah,
because he's always been like guard heavy, and that's where like all the money goes. And then it's like, we got Robert Covington, we got PJ Tucker, we got
But like obviously that didn't really work out. So then I was like going through the rest of the list, thinking like, okay, well, there's a lot of players that have full bird rights that are free agents. They might try to re-sign him, but the Grizzlies have Marvin Bagley and they've got Luke Kennard, both with full bird rights. Like, could you find a team like that wanted to trade for him, don't necessarily have the right pieces or pieces under contract that they want to give up for Grant, but would if they just got him for players that are going away anyway?
Yeah. It'd just be tough because, like, first apron, second apron, right? Like,
well, it wouldn't, the other team wouldn't. It would be for us.
Though, right? But I just mean, like, teams, like, you just run into, like, do we really want to pay this guy this much money, or would we rather just, like, lose these guys anyway and, like, not have Jeremy Grant and not be past the first apron and have MLE and, like, have our books clear? I mean, that's the problem you run into with any Jeremy Grant trade, whether if you're trying to be creative in the way you were talking about or just try to trade him in general. It's a big commitment. It's like $100 million over 3 years to a guy that last year was straight up bad. He was awful. And then, like, after the season, it's basically like, he was awful because he couldn't dominate the ball as much. And any of these teams trading for him, it's going to be for him to try and play a role. But I don't know. I don't view Jeremy Grant much as a role guy anymore. I don't know. Like, his defense, I think, is worse. His string and navigation has always been terrible, but, like, he's more offensive now to me. His rebounding's terrible. He's not much of a passer. Like, he's a third scorer. The idea of trading Jeremy Grant is like, okay, a team needs a third scorer and they're on the precipice of contention. So if they get that third scorer, they're willing to pay him a little bit more just to have that third scorer because they think they're going to contend. And that's the best role for Jeremy Grant. And that was like last year, it was like, all right, well, you have Austin Reeves on a great contract, so maybe Jeremy Grant would be your fourth guy, right? So you could pay Jeremy Grant a little bit more because you got Austin Reeves on a great contract if you're the Lakers, and of course you got LeBron and had AD. So that was the idea with the Lakers being a team that could use Jeremy Grant, and they needed a little bit of shooting. Now it's like, would any teams think he could come in and be a third scorer on a contending team? Last year, he couldn't even be the Blazers' sixth scorer. I don't know where he finished in terms of points per game, but he was extremely inefficient. I don't think he was a top 5 scorer if you take into account efficiency, right? In just the quality of scoring. I don't think he was a top 5 scorer on the Blazers last year, and that was a team that didn't even make the play-in. So it's you if you're trading for him, you have to hope that he has a massive bounce back, and this was just an outlier. But it's if he was 25, okay, sure, it would look more like an outlier. But he's past 30, so I think to a lot of teams, it's just yeah, he's maybe declining. And
just got to find a team that thinks it was just a down year because he wasn't into the situation here. So
I think it's going to be impossible. I think the Blazers are going to have to try and overpay for a player and get a team to take him on and then just act like, oh yeah, we would have paid this price anyway. And we just used Grant to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But trades like that is like Zion, where they gave up 3 or 4 firsts with Grant for Zion. And it's just we got a top 20 player in the league. That's why we gave up 3 to 4 firsts. We valued Grant, but Zion is a superstar when he plays. So, when in reality, it's oh yeah, well, the only reason they gave up 4 firsts instead of 3 is because they had to give up an extra first to get rid of Jeremy. But they could just play it off. That's the only way I see Jeremy getting traded. I don't see Jeremy just getting traded straight up for expirings. And I will laugh. Listen, if the Blazers trade Jeremy Grant for an expiring, I don't care who that player is. That player could be Eric Brandt on a 1-year, $100 million contract. It's not CBA possible, and it's not possible for other reasons because it's 45-year-old.
I'd take 100,000.
Yeah, you take 100,000. I'd take 100,000 too. But it could be literally anybody. If the Blazers traded Jeremy Grant for literally any expiring contract, I will sit here on the trade reaction stream laughing at that team. Laughing.
And we'll give Cronin his props for recognizing his mistake and cutting bait.
Well, I'll give him props for that, but this has just been a ridiculous 2 years with Jeremy Grant since we signed him to that extension just to get nothing out of it 2 years later and have him take up minutes in a rebuild. Okay, this whole thing was dumb, but at least you fixed it, It's I don't know. I'm sure chat can come up with a good analogy for that, but you caused the mess. If you clean up the mess, I'm not going to give you, props from the jump. Okay, fine. But you cleaned up the mess. Good job. You cleaned up the mess. You're back at square one.
Excuse me, Tori. This has and will always be Neil Olshey's mess. Don't put that on Cronin. There's nothing he could have done.
The demon, the demon that is Neil Olshey that haunts us to this day. Olshey definitely convinced Dame to convince Cronin to give Jeremy Grant that contract. So it's Olshey's fault, and then it's Dame's fault, but it's not Cronin's. Anyway, trolling aside, the goal of any... We're going to talk about targets if the Blazers want to get aggressive, okay? And then we'll take your calls. We'll take your calls in the league. Do we even have anyone in here? Let me see. We got New Chan. We got Alex Wolf. That's what we got. Okay. So I will take your guys' calls here in about 10, 15 minutes. I want to get into targets first, and then I'm happy to talk to both of you. But first, before we look at targets, I just want to reiterate this. The goal in any Jeremy Grant trade at this point is not even to get draft capital anymore because that's just a pipe dream. That's just a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. Okay? The goal in a Jeremy Grant trade is to get an expiring contract with 1 year left on it. unless there's just a perfect target that you can use his salary to match somehow and you don't have to give up too much more value because of it, right? Outside of that, the goal is just to get an expiring contract. And the reason is because Anthony Simons is an expiring contract, so is Robert Williams, so is Matisse Thybulle, so is DeAndre Ayton. So if you do the math, I'll just do the math in my head. Ayton's like 35 mil. Ant's like 27, 28 mil. Okay. Robert Williams like 12, 13 mil. So that's already 75 million. And then Thybulle's like 11. So that's 86 million. And then who am I forgetting? Or was that everybody?
I don't know.
Ayton, Rob Will, Simons, Thybulle. Yeah. That's 86 million coming off their books. 86 million coming off their books. If you traded Jeremy Grant for an expiring, Jeremy Grant's going to be like 32, 33, 34 million next offseason. I think it's like 34 million. If you trade him for an expiring and that comes off the books, you basically are taking Grant's contract off the books. You're basically taking $120 million off your books. Off your books. And if Jeremy Grant was an asset, of course you want asset value back for him, draft capital, whatever. But he's not really an asset to your team. He shouldn't be starting. He's a bad contract. So that's why it's like, I'd take Tobias Harris. I'd take Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber if that's all we're getting back. Because they're all expirings. And if you can take $120 million off the books, of course I want an asset for Anthony Simons. But like Ayton, if he expires, you let him walk, fine. Like, I don't care. Klingon's the future, okay? $120 million coming off the books when the cap is going to go up approximately $15 million. So that's a net total of $135 million gained against the cap. Now, Sharp has a cap hold and, there's other things, so it's not quite that much. But the entire point is the Blazers could be sitting there with whoever they draft this year, maybe a draft pick next year, Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, Tamati Kamara, Denny Avdia, Donovan Klingon, and $80 million of cap space. And the casuals will say, "It's Portland, you expect them to sign a star?" These are the same people that loved when Cronin traded Norm Powell for nothing because of the cap space and flexibility the Blazers were going to get, right? But now when you have that conversation about how the Blazers should clear the books, they can't sign anybody. It's not the point. It's not the point. If you do, you can take on salary with assets attached. You can sign a good role player that fits into your team long term. Okay? You have different options. And at the end of the day, people will worry about the salary floor. You can go sign freaking a vet. If you really can't figure out how to spend that money, you can go sign a veteran to a 1-year, $40 million contract and do his agent a favor. Maybe you get a favor in the future, but then that's just an expiring tradable contract all season. It comes off the books next year, so you're not tying up future money. And that's how you meet the salary floor. The salary floor is not a problem. You can pay Justin Minaya $40 million for a year if you have to be the salary floor. Because basically, the rule is if the Blazers don't meet the salary floor, they don't get tax payouts and that sort of stuff. So it's and you have to pay the money out anyway to the players. You have to pay out the difference between where your payroll's at and the salary floor. So you just sign somebody to the salary floor for a year. Super simple. It's money you're going to have to trade anyway, but then that's money you're going to have to pay anyway. But you actually would get tax payouts and it's just better for business. So salary floor is not a problem.
It's really simple. You just call every team in the league, find out what contracts they don't want, pick up a couple seconds for taking it on, and then just cut that player. And there you go. You got a couple seconds.
Yeah. Yep. So that's the goal with Jeremy Grant. Why I would trade him and Robert Williams for Kyle Kuzma and Pat Connaughton. Pat Connaughton is expiring. Kuzma has 2 years left at $21 million, but I think it would be easier to trade Kuzma for an expiring than it would be to trade Jeremy Grant for an expiring. So if you can trade Jeremy Grant for a contract then you can flip for an expiring, which I would hope Kuzma would be, you accomplish the end goal. You accomplish the end goal. And then if an opportunity comes along where a team like Sacramento last offseason, is like, hey, we don't want Harrison Barnes. He has 1 year left on his contract, making like 19 mil. But we're willing to attach a first-round pick to any team that can absorb his salary without sending anything back. And if you're Portland, you're sitting here with like 80 million cash, like, sure, yeah, he can be our 8th man. Good veteran to have on a young team. Sure, yeah, we'll take him, and we'll take that first-round pick. And you just build your draft capital. And you might even end up with good vets on your bench because of it. So, and you can go and try and push for good role players in free agency. Sign the next Isaiah Hartenstein. He's a really good big who I've liked for a long time now. And I wanted the Blazers to sign for a long time now. The Blazers have never had the opportunity. I wanted him to replace Nurkic long term. So that's the goal with trading Jeremy Grant. Because every other contract, big contract, veteran contract, is expiring next year. It literally all lines up. So find a way to line up Jeremy with something else that lines up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that.
Yep.
Until all those extensions hit later this offseason.
Yeah, Ayton extension going to hit like crack. Shout out to D. Eli Hanna. $2 donation says JG, Ant, DA, Matisse Thybulle swaps and picks for Dame and Giannis. Yes, Dame and Giannis. Dame just, it's not working out, Dame. Just convince Giannis to want to come here too, and we will save you and we will bring you home, and you'll finally win a ring. We'll finally win a ring. Torrey will finally win a ring, and he'll break his curse. That's the master plan.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you could do something like that, you pretty much have to. But yeah, I don't.
Throw in Sharp.
I don't think there's any way they're not asking for one of our 2 young guards and one of Denny or Tamani too.
Not. I think if Dame could convince Giannis to come with him to Portland, I think Milwaukee would do what Giannis wants, as long as it's reasonable. And considering we control 3 years of their future, getting that back so they can properly rebuild is important. On top of, the best 2029 first between Boston, Milwaukee, Portland, pretty good pick. You have the draft capital to do it with Shaden and those contracts. I mean, you could have a starting lineup of Dame, Kamara, Giannis, Avdia, Klingon. I think that is a much better starting lineup than the Bucks have right now. I think that's much better. Scoot off the bench. The reason why I throw in Sharp, I think the Bucks would want Sharp more, but then Dame could tutor Scoot, mentor Scoot, and then Scoot could take over for him long term, and you could still have a window, I think, with Scoot, Kamara, Avdia, Giannis, and Klingon. The Blazers would, I think, be contenders for a while if they did that. So, yeah, I'd do it. That's the whole goal of the rebuild, is trying to get to contention. That's the only trade that I'd trade Sharp in. Now, obviously, it's insanely unrealistic and not going to happen, but I don't know, man. I feel like that trade is as realistic as the Blazers trading Jeremy Grant for a first-round pick at this point, so if some people still expect that, all right, I expect Giannis and Dame. And then shout out to Jackson Bever for 51. Says, why aren't the Twitter warriors calling in? I don't know, man. We got 2 people waiting in the audience. We got 3 now. Waiting patiently. We got Drunk Aeromancer on a Thursday night. Just kidding. He's probably sober. But he wants to call in. I would love to talk to him. Probably.
That's quite the assumption.
Yeah. He needs to change. He has his Discord profile picture as a cat. He needs to change it to a fish because he drinks like a fish. Just kidding. I love roasting my mods.
Panda and fish.
But before we get to the calls, we got to talk targets. I feel like we need to get this out of the way. Any targets on your mind, Eric, that if the Blazers want to be aggressive, you'd be like, okay, fine, that guy would make sense to go after?
Yeah, free agents.
We're talking trades here.
I know. I am talking trades.
Mr. I hate sign and trade ideas loves his sign and trade ideas now.
I hate signing trades when you're talking about your own free agents. Like you can just trade them like that.
So let's sign and trade Banton to
That's the type of thing I
the
hate.
Carolina Panthers
Okay.
for first round pick.
He's gonna be a receiver now or something.
Yeah. He's 6'7",
He's gonna
man, and he
balance
loves
out.
having the ball in his hands.
He's gonna balance out Bryce Young's height.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He would snap with one hit, man. Oh man. It was funny hearing. It was cool hearing Tamani talk about like cornerbacks in football. Especially because it's like, he's a European guy. It was interesting to hear him talk about like the defense with those guys. So, yeah, let's sign and trade Delano Banton for Tet McMillan. There you go, Eric. I like that idea. Shout out to Ryan for that idea. We're talking realistic trade ideas. But like, okay, so who are your targets where you'd be okay going after them?
Let's see. Man. It's mostly like the young guys that are probably unrealistic, so I don't know.
Like who? Denny Avdia?
No, just like Detroit. I'd want like Holland or something,
Yeah.
I don't. So Jarvis Walker still from the Pacers. Players like that are more.
So if the Blazers wanted to get, because I don't think those guys like really make the Blazers better.
Mhm.
Like if they legitimately wanted to take a step and would need a trade for a player, is there anybody that you'd be okay with them going after that could be available? Or is that just like straight up not the move?
I think it would depend on if we had to give up assets. If we give up a bunch of assets to do so, that's why I've never been a fan of the Zion type move.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to give up some assets to get a good player.
Yeah.
Like the Blazers gave up 2 first-round picks for Denny Avdia, and we like that trade, right? So it's like,
hmm But I mean, we did one of those on a stream where we went through basically every team, and there was no guy we would give up 2 firsts for. That was
So I think the name we're gonna see is Kuminga sign and trade. I saw a trade idea, Anthony Simons for Kuminga in a sign and trade, and I think Simons would make a lot of sense on Golden State, to be honest. Like I think it would fit their system pretty decently. I just don't like Kuminga on this team. The Blazers need more shooting, not less, and they have their forwards. Like, I wouldn't want to start Kuminga over Kamara or Avdia. So, I am not a Kuminga fan for the Blazers. I like Kuminga as take a flyer and this guy could be a star. I just don't think the Blazers are in that position to take that flyer any longer. They've established who their forwards are going to be unless they get somebody that's already better, and Kuminga's not.
Yeah, I saw someone say that it was like, I forgot who it was, but someone was saying that Sharp for Kuminga makes a lot of sense for both teams. So I was like, what?
Hell no. Jaren Jackson Jr., I don't think he's getting traded. If anything, Jaw gets traded and they build around Jaren Jackson Jr. Desmond Bane, Desmond Bane is maybe the worst. He's a guard. You already got your young guards. He's not good enough to lead a team. He's not even good enough to be a number 2 on a contending team, in my opinion. And you'd have to give up legitimate assets to get him. And it doesn't solve your star issue. So, oh, you guys like no one. Correct. Absolutely correct. We like no one. I love just pretending like I'm reading off troll comments in chat. Because nobody actually said that, but I read it in my mind. So chat, you guys could recommend names. We can talk about names. We're going to take some calls. The first guy I was going to go to just left, so took too long. Apologies. Took too long. So we'll go to Alex Wolf, and then we'll go to Aeromancer, and then we have somebody by Eric. Do we the third person in here? Do we take his call too, given his username?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, why is that their username?
I don't know. Maybe that's the person.
Anyway, I love how Jackson just joined. Okay, we'll go to Alex was in her first, then we'll go to Aeromancer, then we'll go to the next person, and then we'll go to Jackson. All right. So before you call in, little rules, okay? No profanity. No profanity. I love how people were just joining just to see the username and then leaving. That was funny. No profanity. That's basically the only rule. And let's kick it off with our guy Alex Wolf.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, what's up,
What's
Mr.
up, Alex?
Cavs fan?
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Not too bad.
What you got for us?
Yeah, so this question came to me. I've been watching Zach Lowe's new show, or podcast, I should say, through The Ringer. It's been really good so far, and he brought up a really interesting point. They were talking about Zion, I think, or Ja, one of the. I think it was Ja, actually. So the 2019 drafts, if you were to hypothetically do a redraft, knowing, in 2025, knowing what we know now, who would go first, and why is it not Darius Garland?
What year was that again? You said
19.
2019. Let me look it up. Of course, you're going to
Four
come
All-Stars
in
so
here with
far.
the Garland propaganda.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because, I mean, obviously, if we're talking, box office athleticism, just selling tickets, but if you're just building a team to win and not having to worry about, like, Zion's weight and job doing crazy stuff all the time with, like, guns.
I still think it'd be Ja just because he's the most talented player, and like in a redraft, you just draft the most talented player and try and figure it out.
Well, even knowing what we know, like, 6 years later with, like, the gun stuff, you'd still...
I think it'd go Ja, Garland, Zion, Hero, and then you got like a number of guys that aren't stars that are pretty good, like a Cam Johnson, RJ Barrett, DeAndre Hunter. That would be in that conversation as well. Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome.
Who was robbed 6th man of the year.
Ty Jerome has been so...
No, he wasn't.
Nah, he wasn't. But he's been really good this year. He needs to start somewhere else. He needs to leave Cleveland and start somewhere else.
Blasphemy.
I mean, you guys can't
He is
even...
happy
You guys
here.
can't
His
even...
boy
Yeah,
DeAndre
well,
Hunter,
he'll be happier
his best
making...
friend is here.
He'll be happier making $20 million and starting somewhere else and then making more on his next contract. So
We're going to start a GoFundMe to pay him with the Cavs camera. Eric, are we allowed to do that? Does that go against the CBA?
You know the answer to that, Alex.
So he should... If the Nets don't draft a point guard they're ready to start, he should go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn should pay him like $20 million for a couple years, take a flyer. When he's started, he's been insanely good. Casuals don't know Ty Jerome, but if you've been paying attention, Ty Jerome is like arguably the most improved player this year, given that he was like not in the NBA basically last year. He played like 3 games.
He's had 3 surgeries, like pretty major ones since he's been drafted, I saw.
Yeah. Is he a Tory Gem? No, he's not a Tory Gem. Unfortunately not. Not a Tory Gem. I did not call Ty Jerome. And he's been so bad that like I wouldn't be sitting here saying he's a gem until this year. But this year he's been phenomenal. Yeah, that's... Would you agree with that? Where would your redraft go, Eric?
I'm still taking Zion 1, and knowing what I know, I would do everything in my power to convince him to stay away from porn stars and get healthy body wise. And so yeah.
Who do you take between Jaw and Garland? Because Jaw you have to convince to stay away from guns.
Yeah, I'd take Jaw as well, and then just get him to stay on the right path, because he was. It was unfortunate because injuries kind of played a factor too, but I feel like he was. I mean, wasn't he just in MVP conversations like 3 years ago? You know, like.
Yeah.
When they were the 2 seed.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love Darius Garland and what he's done. I don't know if he's leading a team like Ja has, you know.
Yeah.
Like by himself, basically.
Yeah. I agree. Like as a number 2, number 3 star, I like Garland better, but to lead a team, I like Ja better. Like lead a team on the floor, not off the floor.
Sorry to go against what you were hoping we'd say.
This dude is living the high life right now, so I will gladly go against his Cavs
I know.
propaganda.
You're not mad they're up 2-0?
Yeah, they're gonna take the next series for granted, huh?
I will say, game 2. It's funny. I was at a bar and I had to step outside to take a call, and we were up like a decent amount. And I came back and we were up like 4 or something against the Heat last night. I was like, "What in the world? How did this happen?"
Yeah,
there's just some kind of Miami flurry. That's what like scared. I really didn't want to play them in the first round just because like they're so scrappy, and they just like when they beat the Heat. I'm sorry, when they beat the Celtics last year in round 1, they took a game off of them. Like, you just never know what they're gonna do. But yeah, that is gonna hurt when Jerome leaves. That's gonna be a real kick in the nuts.
Yeah, and we don't like those. Yeah, I want to see him start just because I think it can break out. Anyway, any other propaganda that you want to push upon us?
No, I mean just huge shout out to Evan Mobley for winning Defensive Player of the Year. I asked Eric this earlier. Tori, I'll ask you: has he lived up to your pre-draft expectations? Just on the subject of the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect him to be the best player in the league, so he's a star, and he's still young and still getting better. So yeah, absolutely. I'm happy Draymond didn't win it because he didn't deserve it.
Yeah,
I would have been furious. Yeah, I could have lived with Jaren Jackson. I would have been really disappointed. But Draymond, I would have just because at that point this is just the WWE, and awards aren't to be taken seriously anymore. So.
Yeah. Yep.
And Tamani was 9th in voting. Hopefully that means he'll make at least the second all-defensive team.
He'll make it. He should make it. And if he doesn't,
he's been great.
We will riot. Anyway, thank you, Alex. Appreciate your call.
Absolutely. Thanks for my call, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you. All right.
Bye, Alex.
We'll go to Aeromancer, and then we'll go to the other guy or girl. I have no idea. All right. Arrow is deafened.
Yep.
Jumping in the call like an amateur. Just kidding. What's up?
Man. I am sober, so that's
Hello,
not the reason
Arrow.
why I'm just not paying
This is
attention.
the first time I've been disappointed about that.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going good. What you got?
Good. I don't have anything. I just wanted to come
You
in
just
here and
asking
say
us
hi.
how we're going? Oh, we appreciate that. How are you doing, Arrow? What'd you do today, Arrow?
I'm good. It's my birthday on Sunday.
Happy
I
early
took
birthday.
the day off. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
Nice. So
Kinda-
what do you do with your day off?
Yeah, he detoxed from social media, so
Sat
not
around.
spending anything on-
Yeah. That's a good way to spend the day. But,
I mean, I did look into the mock off season stuff, so I'm just
That's
kind of
good.
trying to figure some stuff out. What else I do? I took a walk. It was a nice day out, so I did that. Yeah.
Chat rate Arrow's day 1 to 10. No, sounds good, man. You're turning how old?
27.
47.
Yeah, right. 47.
Yeah.
said 27, I think.
I heard 47.
It's not me.
Nice. You doing anything for your birthday? You going anywhere special?
Oh, I'm gonna go down and see some buddies in Salem.
Oh, you have friends?
Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Wow, sorry.
I don't know why they put up with me, but
Yeah.
here we are. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. So you can like learn how it is.
I thought we were friends.
Wow.
Wow, bro. All right.
You kind of deserve that, Tori.
Yeah, I love it.
Gotta clap back somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you are, but what am I? That was a good one. Anyway. Connor says Arrow calling
Here,
in just to get roasted. Absolutely.
I got one trade idea for you.
Okay.
Just thought of it.
Is this from Reddit?
Nope,
Okay, good.
but they would probably hate it, or maybe they'd like
Okay,
it.
good.
I don't know.
No, I hope they hate it.
All right, so the Houston Rockets recently paid Jalen Green, paid Alperen Şengün.
Mhm.
They have a $45 million in Fred VanVleet club option.
Yep.
Unfortunately for them, if I'm doing the math right, even if they decline that option, they're not really going to get anything out of it because the cap maximum is only going to be about 12 million.
Yeah, it's not going to be
higher.
more than the MLE, yeah.
Yep. So my thought is, why don't they swing for some shooting and 40% shooter from three, Jeremy Grant, at least in 2023, might be an option for them.
Okay, so what are they... What's the trade?
So the trade is Fred VanVleet for Jeremy Grant and Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, I don't see any shot. I don't see any shot. Yeah, like why would they push the tax for Jeremy? Because would they be in the tax after that trade?
No, they'd be below the first apron. They'd be in the tax, but they'd be in the tax if they accept Fred VanVleet. So either they don't get anything for Fred, or they just bring him back and he's like declining. He's going to be 31.
I mean, they wouldn't want to start him. Like, he's not better than Tari Eason. He's not better than Jabari Smith. That's even if he kind of bounces back. I still don't think he's like particularly better than Jabari Smith, but he's comparable, I guess. But like Tari Eason's been great defensively this year. So it's like paying that guy that much to come off the bench when, like, even if they decline Fred VanVleet's option and they had 12 million in cap space, they would still get the room exception after that, so they get another 8 million. I feel like, so you got a 12 million chip and 8 million chip, you could find something similar to Jeremy, then not be like locked into that contract. So this is the tough part about trying to trade Jeremy, though. You know, this is the conversations that me and Eric have been having. So I just don't see Houston like.
All right, here's thought number 2.
All right.
Jeremy Grant, Anthony Simons. The Blazers get back Fred VanVleet, Jabari Smith.
Would they even trade Jabari straight up for Ant?
I mean, shooting is obviously the thing they need right now, and
Yeah.
Ant is 20-point per game scorer. I know Jabari's playing a
Well,
position
Ant
of
didn't
value,
average
but
20 a
like,
game last season, but I get your
okay, fine, 19.3 points. He averaged 21 per 36. Yeah.
Do you think, Eric? Do you think the Rockets would trade Jabari Smith for Anthony Simons? I know the salary doesn't work, but just like would prefer that swap.
I mean, I get that they'll probably be looking for an upgrade over Van Vliet, but Simon seems like a weird fit on that team, even though, like, offensively it might be a good fit. It just, I don't know. I think that's what they're hoping, like, Reed Shepherd eventually becomes. So
Yeah, exactly.
And Jalen Green already.
Yeah, the defense with
kind
those
of
two in the backcourt would be rough.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
also it's I don't know, like any team that Portland could potentially trade Anthony Simons to. If the Bulls make Kobe White available, I think you're going to have to compete against that because I think Kobe White has a little bit more value to teams trying to trade for him right now,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and he's a
But the
cheaper
Bulls are
contract.
silly, so
Yeah,
who knows what the Bulls are gonna
well,
do?
yeah, they think they're in a great spot.
It's interesting. So I think that Amen Thompson and Anthony Simons is like an ideal backcourt combination. Uh, Jalen Green though is obviously there.
He's just-
Jalen Green's interesting though, because he's you'd think of him as the same archetype as Anthony, but he's kind of not. He's more like a Shaden Sharp type player in that he's not consistent from three, super athletic.
yeah,
And Anthony isn't really that. So I get what you're saying defensively. It doesn't make sense, and I agree with that. I think worst case scenario, you stagger their minutes, and I think you have enough defenders around them to make it work. I mean,
I
they're still gonna have Dylan Brooks. They're still gonna have obviously a man.
I just feel like if they want to get shooting, they can find shooting with a cheaper player that's maybe easier to get, where they then don't also have to trade Jabari Smith, where they also don't have to pay Jeremy Grant $32 million a year for 3 years. I think that's the problem you run up into with that type of trade is like, why don't they just go sign a shooter to an MLE? I feel like if they trade for scoring, it should be somebody that's a better player than Jalen Green. Like it should be a star basically. Otherwise, it's like you got Reed Shepard, you drafted him 3rd overall, you develop him, like let him be that shooter.
All right. Well, hypothetically, what if KD becomes available and they send out the picks from the Suns that they have and Jalen Green and let's say I don't know Reed Shepard for KD.
So how many picks is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's like
I don't
3
have
picks.
the
I think
pick
that's
set
I
list.
think that's too rich for KD actually. I
Sure.
think
Okay. I mean, whatever the
Yeah.
trade is, let's say they trade for him, right? And Green goes out in that deal.
yeah.
Then you think they might look into Anthony Simons?
Yeah, maybe we're just going down. The tough part is like going down a rabbit hole, but like, yeah, you replace some of that shooting. I sure. The rumor is like Houston's not gonna rush their youth movement right now for a guy like KD who only has a couple years. Like they're gonna be patient for a star that's gonna be younger, which makes sense to me. Because like they just got out of the rebuild this first year making the playoffs, so it's a smart organization would not rush it for a guy like KD. And I don't know. I think Houston's a smart organization. I mean, we'll see. We've seen some organizations that appear smart then look really dumb. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks. So who knows?
Yeah. It's interesting because I think last year around this time we were looking at Houston. I think they finished like 39 wins or something like that last year.
Yeah.
I don't have the number up in front of me, but like we're saying, man, the Houston Rockets are short circuiting their rebuild, right? Their team isn't really as good as they maybe think it is. The ceiling isn't as high, and they're
Yeah.
already kind of going for it. And I think Portland's in a similar place. I think a lot of people are praising the Rockets right now. I would give them a couple years, see where they're at. I think that they're also way deeper than us, so that comparison
They're
is
deeper and they
maybe,
have more future draft capital. So
course. Yep.
yeah. Anyway, whoever runs them in the mock offseason is going to screw them up. I guarantee it. Unless
What
it's
was it
Eric.
last year? It was like they got Brooke Lopez
LT,
and
they got Mikhail.
yeah. Oh yeah. Right, that trade, that 7-team trade.
Yeah, my masterpiece. I think this year whoever runs them is going to mess them up, but we'll see. We'll see. It depends on who it is, of course. So, anyway, appreciate you calling in, brother.
Alrighty. Yep. Have a good one.
You too, man. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Happy early birthday.
Alrighty. Last call in can do a good Arrow impression. Hello.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
That's how you doing.
Good. Sorry for my name.
It's all good.
What should we call you?
You can just call me Alec. That's my real name.
Okay.
ALEC.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the
What's
the backstory behind your name, and then what's the backstory? What is the picture? It's a dude with yellow face paint. I want the backstory.
Well, that picture is me.
Gotcha.
And I have a top hat on. I'm part of the Lads.
Yeah.
We're just a group of just chill guys. We call ourselves the Lads.
Nice.
And the picture is Drake's "Take Care" album. I don't
See,
know
that's
if
what
you
I
guys
thought
know.
it was.
So it's me photoshopped on top of that. And I just made it my picture ever since my boy cooked it up for me.
Nice. Yeah, people say we're a chill stream, so it's a good fit, right? We're so chill, Eric. Cool, man. What you got for us? Good to meet you.
Yeah, I don't have too much. I just want to start and say, I've been a Blazer fan since I was probably like 6 or 7 years old.
Nice.
I watched some of the tail end of the Jailblazers. Watched Dame. Fell in love with the Blazers a lot when I got a little bit more into adulthood.
Yeah.
Stopped watching them once Dame got traded,
Mhm.
even though Dame should have got traded earlier, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Anyway, like I said, I think I became more of a Blazers fan at the new millennium that we have right now with our young guys, especially with that win streak in the middle of the year.
Yeah. Like this. Did that streak like kind of pull you back to them? That
It really
11-game
did, yeah.
streak?
It did.
Gotcha. Was
I was
it just like, so I'm curious because we don't talk to a lot of people that like checked out from the team since Dame because they're still kind of checked out from the team. Like a lot of the people that call in are just diehards that are crazy like us and just hear through it. You know what I mean? Like, but there is a ton of people. I'll go back watch our old streams and I'll look at the chat and it's just like people that completely checked out right when the Dame trade happened. So I've always been curious, like, so.
I wouldn't say that was like really the nail in the coffin. I just think that it was like the GM and the front office just not doing their thing.
Yeah. So like what brought you back? Was it just like the fact that they're winning or was it the way that they're winning?
I mean, yeah, and it's just exciting when you have so many good young players on your team and it gives you reason to root for them again. Like I think some of the last games that I watched before that were the end of Dame's career when he was injured and we were tanking and we just had like the most bogus lineup of a bunch of like G League players. And that like I watched those games and I was like, I think it's time to tap out.
Yeah. I don't know. I loved a good Skylar Mays masterclass, man.
No, I mean watching those players and like have cool games, that's cool. I'm not gonna hate on them at all.
No, I fully get you. Like it's just it's not players that matter. It's not anything for the future. So it's just like these games are just kind of pointless. You're watching guys that don't even feel like Blazers almost. You're just watching some random
like
collection of G League players. Yeah, I get it for sure.
It's just an ancient memory.
I mean, I've gotten to the point with those games taken, and it's like I'm on my phone the whole game, and then we're doing a post-game show, and it's like I don't even have anything to say about what I just kind of barely watched, because what's the point?
For sure.
What are you hoping? So what are you hoping for? So like, team got you more invested. Are you hoping they take a big swing this offseason, or do you want them to like clear the deck so that they can start the young guys, Scoot, Sharp, Avdia, Kamara, Klingon. What are you hoping for out of this offseason?
Obviously, as a Blazer fan, I'd love to see a big swing in some direction. That's probably not going to happen with our history. Mm-hmm. I was kind of wondering what you guys thought of the value of Tumani or Sharp and what we could do with them and what you value them over each other if you value them more than the other.
Eric, I'll let you answer that.
Tumani and Sharp. I value both of them pretty highly. Tumani, obviously, high-end role player, We're going to see him hopefully on one of these all defensive teams. Sharp has the offensive upside that Tamani doesn't. And I think you need both of those kind of players, so I kind of value them both equally. But I think...
Would you value them equally in a trade scenario, though?
Well, it's so
Just a
tough.
piece?
When you're talking about Tamani, like when you're making the minimum, pretty much, like it's really hard to get any sort of value in a trade, whereas at least Sharp makes some money. And then you could kind of justify maybe if contract negotiations for his extension didn't go well this summer, and you're just like way far apart on what both sides think is going to be reasonable money-wise, then maybe you start to look at moving him. But I kind of value both of their trade values similarly, unless I'm absolutely like it's a no-brainer type trade. I don't think I'm moving either of them, and I can't really say the same for it. Pretty much anyone else on the roster other than Denny.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. I think if you trade Kamara, even if you get back a better player, you're put into the position where for years you're probably just struggling to find a player like Kamara that you want on your team. Like, you'd be trying to replace him for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a team's going to trade a superstar just straight up for Monty Kamara or anything. You'd have to give up a lot more. So it's almost just easier to try and do that trade without including Tamati, just so you still have him, because you're going to need a player like that to contend. You know, you're going to need a defender like that. So it's almost like not even a conversation about what his value is. It's just more so like, all right, like why even put him in a trade in the first place? Because he's not going to swing the trade, and basically the Blazers should value him more than any other team does. I think for Sharp, the problem is with the Blazers not having a star, they're going to need a star to contend one day, and with them not having a high draft pick, it's going to be hard to get it that way. With the Blazers don't have a ton of future firsts or anything like that, so it's going to be harder to trade future first straight up for a star. So they need the upside of Sharp going forward. I think it's like if you could get somebody that could be the best player on a contending team for Sharp, yeah, sure, you do it. I just don't think that trade is out there. And anything short of that, you know, like let's say Desmond Bane is available. Like Desmond Bane right now is a better player, but Desmond Bane will never be the number one player on a contending team. And if you trade Sharp for him, it's like you trade up somebody that, even if the chance is small, Sharp has a chance to be the best player on a contending team one day, and you trade it for somebody that you know is not going to be the best player on a contending team, then you're stuck in a position where it's like, okay, how do we get to contention? Because we don't have a star. We don't have really anyone that can become that guy. Now you're putting too much on like Scoot Henderson to become that guy. So that's the tough thing about trading Shaedon Sharp. So to answer your question, I guess as a kind of a non-answer, I just don't think the Blazers are positioned to really move either.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I love Tumani. I have both jerseys.
Hell yeah.
They're two of my favorite young players. I was just wondering if there was something that you would see realistic that would make our team better. But like you said, you're just trying to swing for the young core.
It's just tough because like anybody that's available is going to be available for a reason. Like they have some baggage, or like I don't know. It's like Trae Young might be available. I don't want the Blazers to trade for Trae Young. I don't want him leading this team. I don't think he's going to lead him anywhere.
Oh, absolutely not. I do not want him on our team. Yeah,
and it's like John Morant, right, with all his problems, and he has Jerry Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, and that team's not going anywhere. So it's like, okay, I don't really want to make that swing either. It's unfortunate. I just don't think there's a trade out there this offseason to be aggressive with for the Blazers that makes sense. So, and that's why I asked you that question, because with you being like checked out until recently, and then like, okay, this team has brought you back. This team is fun. It's like that's the tough part. Is a lot of fans want a big swing, but there's just some problems with that right now. For me, I'm just like, this young core is fun. I really hope the starting lineup next season is Scoot, Sharp, Tamani, Denny Avdia, and Klingon. I think that lineup has a lot of upside to be a potentially top 5 defense next year, and I think Blazer fans would love that. So it's like, just keep it simple and embrace those guys is what I want the front office to do. And yeah, if you have a no-brainer that comes along, sure, yeah, pull the trigger. But I think the baseline is that moving forward, and then whoever you draft, right? Like, if you get lucky in the lottery, then great, but we'll see.
I agree. I just think complacent for so long that it's hard being a fan and just not seeing them at least try to do something. But I'm sure you've said something about that before. I try to tune in as much as I can to the Upper. I just started listening this year.
Yeah.
So.
Well, welcome on board, man. We've been at it for a while, and the Dame stretch was rough, but happy to have you listening to the show. And yeah, like for me, just kind of put a bow on this. Like, I don't view it as complacency when it's a rebuild and you're like progressing young players. That's kind of the thing. When it's Dame and his clock's running out, and he's past the age of 30, and you've been talking about building around him for years and failing to do so, and then don't even try to. That's complacency to me.
Yeah, but I think that's also. I mean, I think you guys said that earlier. It's kind of Dame's fault because he was the one that got Jeremy Grant that contract.
No, we were being sarcastic.
Dude, I don't know about that.
Why do you? I want to know why do you believe that Cronin didn't?
I don't think it was 100% like he had, or like Cronin had to make that move, or I don't know if it was Olshey at the time.
Well, so if it's Dame's fault, I think. If it's Dame's fault, I think the problem here is that assumes that Cronin had no idea that signing Jeremy Grant wasn't going to be enough for Dame, which I think would make Cronin extremely, like, dumb, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you weren't around for this, but like me and Eric were on stream 2 weeks before free agency talking about like, yeah, they're probably not going to do anything. They're probably not even going to try and trade the third pick when they're on the clock, which then was reported as true. They just wanted to take Scoot, and like Dame's going to ask out because the front office told Dame they'd be aggressive for him, and then they're going to do nothing and then draft a point guard to replace him, right? So it's like, me and Eric were talking about it 2 weeks before the Jeremy Grant contract. Like, yeah, if they don't sign anyone like new, like they don't bring in, a good player or trade the third pick, like Dame's gonna ask out. So I struggle to believe that Cronin didn't know that Dame was gonna ask out. So that's why I don't agree with that. It's like, okay, there's no way Cronin thought, yeah, I'm just gonna resign Jeremy Grant and Dame's gonna be happy enough, because that would make him completely out of touch, in my opinion, and therefore that would not excuse it. That would still be Cronin's fault just for being out of touch.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I've just been an enemy of the front office for a long time, and it's hard not to just expect the worst out of what they're thinking of.
Yeah. Is it like you want to feel like this front office is good because you're tired of having an incapable front office, so you hope that's the case? Like,
absolutely, and I wish maybe we would have a different owner, but either way, I just don't want another. It seemed like at the time too, when we signed Evan Turner, that was kind of like Dame trying to have a connection with somebody that he liked. And I don't know if Evan Turner was really that great of a player. I mean,
that was the Blazers had a ton of cap space that offseason and just wanted to use it, and they couldn't get anything better than Evan Turner, so they got Evan Turner because the cap jumped a ton.
Well, everyone had a ton of cap space.
Yeah,
that was a crazy time.
Like, everybody spent money. Timothy Mozgov got big money. Like,
I was just gonna say that same name.
Yeah. So I think it's like they failed to build around Dame. They didn't do enough to build around Dame. Like, Cronin can still be better going forward, even though he messed up the Jeremy Grant contract. But he is absolutely responsible for giving him that contract. Like, he traded for Grant, he resigned Grant. Like,
I'm not even a Cronin hater when it comes down to it. I mean, that Abdiga trade was pretty fucking good. Freaking good, sorry.
At least you corrected yourself. I like the Avdia trade too. People call me a Cronin hater. I like the Avdia trade. I said at the time I really like this trade. It's like I think people too much is like, oh, I want this front office to be good, so I'm going to excuse everything. Or if you criticize the front office, you're a hater, and it's just like black and white, and it doesn't even make much sense. It's like, yeah, they've done a couple good things, and they've done some bad things. Like that's most front offices, right? And the Grant thing was a bad thing that they should have avoided. Well, and the thing is, I think they could have traded him for value last offseason. So it's like, I can't blame Dame. I think you could have traded Jeremy Grant last offseason for a little bit of value. You should have. I think the problem is Cronin wanted too much. And I also think that's why Robert Williams didn't get traded at this deadline. So, like, that's a pattern. I think that Cronin in this front office has shown enough that makes me worry that, yeah, they don't know how to sell veterans and they want too much. And then if that price isn't met, they don't trade them. And that's why they literally have traded nobody out last offseason or this past trade deadline. Like, they've just kept kicking that can down the road. So I think that's a flaw. And I hope that Cronin improves upon that, fixes that, trades away the guys that he needs to this offseason, and that's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, I agree.
But Eric, you have anything to add?
No, I pretty much agree with all that. Yeah. But yeah, I go back to
things I want to talk about, but keep going, bro.
Go ahead, Eric. What were you saying?
I was say there was going back to the Jeremy Grant signing thing. I mean, Dame did have a meeting with Joe Cronin on Monday, June 26th, a full 5 days before he publicly demanded a trade. Now, I believe he requested a trade and they agreed to keep it secret at that time. But yeah, whether you believe that or not, I mean, Cronin had to have seen the writing on the wall at that meeting. It was reported it didn't go well. So, he had to have known. That was 4 days before free agency and 5 before Dame officially requested out. So, there's just no way he thought that was. Let me just put it this way.
Thought that was
re-signing,
it was going to work out.
Yeah, re-signing Jeremy Grant, and Grant was already on the team. So if Dame's demanding all these changes, if Cronin at every press conference leading up to that is saying, we know we have to go all in for Dame. Dame deserves this. He deserves a better roster. We need to make a trade that might be uncomfortable where people are saying we lost the trade, but we need to make it to give him a chance to win. When you're saying those things, that doesn't mean re-signing a player that was already on your own team and calling it good. Cronin absolutely knew that re-signing Grant was not going to factor into whether Dame stayed. It was what he did on top of that, and he did absolutely nothing on top of that. And on the other thing is, I mean, he didn't want
do you think that the front office was trying to trade him? Sorry to interrupt.
Trying to trade him.
Do you think the front office wanted to try to trade Dame?
I believe
okay with him.
Yes, I believe at some point they tried to sway. They decided they wanted to rebuild, probably when they got the third pick, and they realized that if they traded away the third pick and that person became a star, that would look kind of silly because they probably didn't feel confident in their ability to use that asset to build a winning team around Dame. Let's just say they traded it for Jaylen Brown or something like that. I don't think they thought they would have won a championship with that roster, and it would have been really hard to keep building to that. So, because building a contender is really hard. So I think they decided when they got the third pick that the easier way out would just be to rebuild, kind of make it look like it's Dame wanting out, and we tried so hard to trade the pick when they didn't. That kind of stuff, and then it just became the court of public opinion, and it worked. I mean, you got to give them credit. They, for the most part, got a huge portion of the fan base to believe that that Dame turned on us or whatever, and didn't want to be a part of it anymore. So I think for me, it's just, I mean, Dame begged them to do stuff for years. Cronin, ever since he took the job, said he was going to do stuff, never ended up doing it, and then took the easy way out, in my opinion, and that was to trade Dame. And now it got messy. It got super messy, and so it might not have been easy to trade him after all, but at the time, I think he thought it would be the easier way out. And I do think that he thought that he could show Dame up by building a team that was just as good. I mean, we hadn't made the playoffs in 2 years at that point, and the last time we made the playoffs, we lost in the first round to an injured Denver team. So, and then we lost the year before to the Lakers in the first round. I believe they thought they could quickly build a team, including Jeremy Grant, that could be just as good with Scoot, you know, not being your average 19-year-old and all that kind of stuff. So I think they thought they were going to hit the ground running and kind of just, you know, make people forget about Dame.
Fix everything right away.
And then they end up doing like nothing else in free agency. You know, the Dame thing kind of lingered over it all summer, so they couldn't really make moves. But yeah,
since then they have still never done anything in free agency.
But I mean, they had Scoot, who they thought was going to come in and be good right away, and unfortunately he wasn't. Now, luckily for them, it seems like he's a little closer to what they hoped he'd be than after his first season. They thought Sharp was going to take a huge jump. They thought, you know, Jeremy was coming off a great season. He actually had a decent season last year too. Just this year fell off. You know, they got Ayton and Tamani in that trade, the Dame trade. They had Robert Williams and Malcolm Brogdon, two vets, you know, that are, you know, kind of winner types. I don't think they thought they were going to win 21 games that year, even without Dame.
Yeah. Huh, that's a great insight.
Yeah, man.
But I do think they signed Grant because they didn't want to lose him for nothing, which was the right move. It's just you paid way too much for him, and you didn't trade him when he had value, and now he doesn't have value because he had a terrible year.
You got clutch sported, you know. It's clutch sports. They played him. You paid him too much, too many years. Like, did you really have to pay him 5 years? You really had to pay him 5 years. So that's the thing. Like, even if he thought it was built around Dame, it's like, okay, you really had to pay him that much. You got out negotiated that badly with those contract extension talks. Like, 5 years is insane. Like, you don't normally see 5-year contracts for players like that, that are, you know, role players, you know, like solid starters, but you don't normally see 5-year contracts, $32 million a year. So, and Cronin negotiated that contract. So that was kind of like the big mistake since the Dame trade. I think everything else since the Dame trade, like, yeah, there's things they could have done better. Yeah, there's guys they should have maybe traded already or this or that. But I think that is the thorn in the side of the rebuild, because I'm at the point I still think Jeremy Grant's going to be here next year. Hopefully they bring him off the bench behind Avdija and Kamara. I don't really know how they solve that situation. So it's just a wild thing to have in a rebuild.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else, man?
No, I think we're good, dude. I really appreciate you guys having me on, even with my my name and my having nothing to do with the channel.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. We always like welcoming new people, and I thought your name was just trying to troll us. So glad that you're a chill. I'm glad you're a chill lad. You know.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So Anyway,
Well,
man.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah, have a good rest of your night.
Good to talk to you,
You
man.
too.
Have a good night.
Alrighty. Good calls, man. Good calls.
We actually have people calling. Yeah.
Yeah. And a new call. New callers are always cool. It's always cool to meet new people. And like, the thing is too, especially like somebody that just found the channel this year, especially going back over the Dame stuff, is like, you guys were on that roller coaster with us. At least if you watched the channel back then, you were on that roller coaster with us. Nothing will probably ever compare to that saga that summer. And then waking up every day in July, every day in August, almost every day in September, like, is this the day they finally trade him? Absolutely wild. But like, I know I bring up the stream occasionally. You guys know the stream I'm talking about, like 2 weeks before free agency. Maybe it was 2 weeks before the draft. It was a really somber stream talking about how, it sounds like they're going to do absolutely nothing. They're not even going to try and trade the pick. Dame's going to ask out. Like, that was an interesting time. But it was like also good to kind of expect that when a lot of Blazer fans that maybe didn't listen to the channel were completely blindsided by Dame's trade request, it seemed like. Which never really made sense to me. Like, I thought it was pretty clear that it was coming, but, it still sucked. Still sucked, but, that's the cool thing about the channel. Is like, we got the chat, we take your calls, we have the post-game shows, we do different things on post-game shows all year long. Like, it's just along for the ride together. We have the big streams, we all react together. Like, that's the beauty of the channel. That's the beauty of the channel. That's what I love about the channel. And that's what I love about the community. So, appreciate the callers. Is there anything else you want to get into on this stream, Eric? I know it's getting a little late for you.
No, just thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate you all. I guess if anyone has any questions in chat, we could answer them for a few minutes.
Yeah, like 5 minutes. Life, it's off season. If anyone needs life advice, since it's the off season, we got you. Okay? If you need to know how you need to propose the biggest moment of your life, we will tell you exactly what to do. Just kidding, I have no ideas. No ideas. Also, by the way, there's a rumor, Eric. Do you know what the rumor is?
Regarding the Blazers?
Regarding a rumor.
Oh,
It's a rumor regarding a rumor.
Well, maybe, but I don't know what you're talking about.
The rumor is there's going to be streams every Wednesday.
Oh. Yeah, we couldn't do it last night because Crushables was still figuring out how you wanted him to run the stream.
Yeah, I met with him for like an hour, man. It was a good time.
So moving forward, hopefully, consistently, we'll have Hoops Crush episodes every Wednesday evening.
Yeah. Hoops Crush Wednesday.
That's not a rumor. It's
I was having fun setting it up, teeing it up for you. I also this is my first time confirming with you that that's what we're doing. So that's also why I called it a rumor, because I want to make sure, because that's what Crushable says. So I love it. That's gonna be fun. I know you guys love yourself some Hoops Crush. So shout out to Crushables for being willing to put together the setup that I have and make that all look good. So shout out to him, because there is a lot of back end work behind it all. So and I know people are asking for Rich, man. Like, maybe someday in the future you guys can get Rich on too. We can get Rich on too. I want to do more things with guests. I just don't have the time to really plan it right now. Like, it's been a crazy I don't know, work-life balance is not the best, let's just say that. Like, past couple nights I've been working at 12 a.m. Like, I work 9 to 5, sometimes 9 to 6, sometimes 9 to 7, and sometimes I end up working on stuff at like midnight. It's a lot. And then playing basketball and watching games and streaming. That's like basically my life. So yeah. But that's why I like video content. I've recorded something. I've recorded the first video of the offseason. I want to hit the ground running. It is just, that's why recordings have been scarce. So I'm going to try and get on that this weekend. And yeah. All right, we got any good questions? Anybody need life advice? New York Giants crushed first round of NFL draft, says Hawaiian Brian. Are you a Giants fan, Brian?
They almost crushed it.
You don't like Jackson Dart?
Nah.
Hawaiian Brian's a Giants fan. Have you ever heard of Giants Collective? Stephen Crush, Rich, Eric, and Tori around the horn style show. Yeah, that's just a lot of work. That's just a lot of work, man. One day I'll be retired and have money and just be able to do the most. You know, hopefully the Blazers are contenders. You know, give me like 15 years, 10, 15 years. You don't know Giants Collective? Go subscribe to Giants Collective, Hawaiian Brian. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. All right. That's one of the shows we produce for my day job actually. So, go check it out. Yeah. The like branding, is all like me and Krish worked on it together, and then the stream setup is like all me. So. Yeah. We got a Giants Collective, we got a Dolphins Collective, we got a Cowboys Collective. We're launching shows, so separate of this, of course. Go Zers. Do you like the Zers thing, Eric?
You know the answer to that, no. But it's fine. We'll give Alec a break because he is a good caller.
Yeah. Go Zers. It reminds me of something I forget. Oh, it reminds me of like Go Zips, Akron. I don't know why. Yeah, welcome to our community, Alec. We don't like the Zers abbreviation, but
I had a question from Todd Clark. He asked me on Twitter. I already kind of asked you this, Tori, but you haven't answered or anything. So, what he wanted to know, when was the first draft that the Blazers drafted someone that you knew before they drafted him, and you were excited because you thought he was going to be good and all that kind of stuff.
Brandon Roy. When I was like 9.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Because I watched college basketball the year before because I started watching sports with my grandfather, and he watched Washington State, Gonzaga. So I knew like Adam Morrison, I knew Brandon Roy, and then the Blazers got Brandon Roy. I was disappointed they didn't get Adam Morrison, and they got Brandon Roy. So that was the guy for sure.
Him and Aldridge.
The first guy that I like really wanted and was adamant like this dude is slept on, this dude is gonna be great was Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
Like when they drafted him, it was like we won a series. Like I was so hyped. I was so hyped. And it was like high school. It was like my sophomore year. People at school like, who's this guy? I'm like, he's gonna be really good. He's gonna be really good. And then he tears up summer league. It was like, yeah, that was cool. We got the great Zers debate in chat. One of the coolest, chillest dudes I know says Zers, so that's the energy I feel from it. Yeah, maybe just chill guys say Zers, man. Maybe I need to chill out.
It's Zers, bro.
Take it. That was actually very convincing. That was a little too good, man. Is that how you used to talk back in the day? Like, is that an alter ego that I haven't discovered yet? That was too good.
No, I don't talk like that.
You should start talking. We should invent alter egos for streams. That should be yours. What should mine be, chat? And then we'll end the stream. Just let me know what my alter ego should be.
Also, with like a British accent or something.
Also, by the way, if you're new to the community and we like you, we might give you crap for saying Zers. not serious at all. We like to joke around. We like to banter with chat. Okay, just want to make sure that people know that we like to have fun, crack jokes, that sort of thing. Especially in the off season. It's the off season, so. Alex Wolf, that is not. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm ashamed of you. See, here's an example. Like, I'm ashamed of Alex right now. That is gross. I'm sure Eric likes that alter ego. Sleeveless Tori. Ooh, yeah. The Chad Tori. That's the alter ego. Tori from Tiger. There you go.
Should wear your Vancouver City League jersey on air one day.
Oh, God. Yeah, when are we going to stream a game?
Yeah.
And have Gabe commentate and just completely break our profanity rule here.
Yeah. Have to put it on the other channel. Second channel.
What is that snake comment? I don't know what that means.
Which one?
I'm not. I feel like there's.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no.
Yeah, an undertone to that. I'm not gonna say that out loud. I don't understand it, but I understand it enough to not say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm good. Of course, it's Mount Hood. Anyway.
Yeah, sure you are.
See, I almost said, like, okay, send us video proof, but I don't think I want that.
No.
I think
no.
I'm good.
No.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Is no profanity a part of your sponsorship deal? Oh, hell no. No, not at all. Not at all. I work closely with the people there, man. Like, it's... Like, I know a lot of people that work there, and I handle, like, a lot of stuff for their campaigns across YouTube and Twitter and stuff. Like, I'm cool with them. So, yeah, no, not at all. They don't care. Just protecting young ears? Yes. Yes. I don't know. It's like, you know, we're YouTubers, so we're very, very professional, and that just comes with the territory. Right? So. We're just so professional. Family-friendly pod, that's cool. Yeah, you can hear Eric rant about Joe Cronin with your kids. He will rant very passionately, but won't cuss most of the time. So you can watch it with your kids.
So far to say F Jody Allen, F Vertical.
And then slam the headphones down. All right, Mount Hood, you gotta chill, man. This you going on? You chill, man.
If this was Jazz Uprise, soaking would mean something completely different.
I don't get that either, but
Do you know what that is?
in regards to jazz, or is this like in regards to
Utah.
Mormons? Like,
Yeah.
oh, is that like baptism but for Mormons?
No. Do you really want to know?
Do I? I don't know.
So they're not allowed to do it outside of marriage, so they just insert it and just stay there, don't move. That's called soaking.
How does that not count, though?
Because you're not, like, I don't know. Like,
You're not moving?
It's stupid.
It doesn't count if you're not moving.
Yeah, because you're not thrusting. And then I forgot what it's called, like quaking or something, or earthquake or something. So you get one of your friends to then shake the bed or like make
Oh my.
So you're just sitting there not doing anything, but yeah.
I mean, that's asinine, but also like, it's Mormons. So there's some weird stuff, man. Like the BYU experience. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
like
know.
you. I don't know how that, like, once you insert, like, I don't see how that's not breaking.
You broke the barrier. It's
yeah.
over. Like, so is that how they cheat? Like, they soak.
Yeah, I guess.
That's crazy, bro. Why chat always got to make it weird, man? Why chat? Anytime we have any conversations about anything that's off the wall, chat got to make it super weird and make us regret it.
That's the only thing that's worse than soaking is being the person who has to like
Shake the bed.
shake the bed while you watch your
It's like the ultimate
friend
win.
and
Yeah. Well, no. You know what you do? You go under, and then
Yeah.
you like
right, yeah.
and you
I
get
like
a
how
good
you're trying to
workout
figure
in.
out the best way to do it.
Yeah, yeah, you shake
you got your mind going.
Yeah, something like that. And then you pretend like it's just you're working out, man, and this is how you like to work out. So, yeah. Shout out to Blazers Uprise After Dark. Shout out to BetUS TV. Anything else, Eric, that you want to enlighten me on?
No.
Okay. Well, I feel very
Thanks
enlightened.
to Garben for bringing up soaking.
Good old Garvin, man. Good old Garvin.
I don't know this from past experience. I know it from shows talking about it.
Yeah.
Again, we don't want to hear you what you're doing with your snake there.
Dude, did you see the... That's one of my favorite comments ever. Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, I love that comment. The Richter scale one.
Yeah.
I love that comment. Anyway, thank you guys for making the stream fun. Thank you guys for making covering the team fun. We appreciate you. We appreciate BetUS. We appreciate all Eric's wisdom and ways.
2.5 weeks till the lotto. Right.
Whoa, really? Oh, you know what we didn't do? We didn't do a freaking tankathon.
What? Oh,
I'll read it off. I still don't have the scene set up. So I'll just read it off, okay? We'll go fast here. 14 San Antonio, 13 Atlanta, 12 Chicago, 11 Dallas, 10 is Portland, 9 is Toronto moving down 2 spots. Are they just gonna give the Rockets number 1 again? If the Rockets are number 1, I'm giving you a peace out, go Blazers, and then I'm ending the stream. Okay? Okay.
Bye, everyone. Love you.
At 8 is Brooklyn. At 7 is Charlotte moving down 4 spots. Jeez. At 6 is Washington. At 5 is Utah. All right. At 4 is the Houston Rockets. I'm like disappointed. At 3 is Philadelphia. At 2 is San Antonio. And at 1 is New Orleans. So, 8th or 9th would have been good, but not 10th. Good job, Portland. Anyway. Next year, maybe we retire Tankathon. Maybe the Blazers will be good enough we can finally retire Tankathon because we didn't Tankathon the first couple years of the channel. Anyway, we're out of here. Appreciate you guys hanging out. We'll be live again next Monday. Don't know what we'll cover. We'll cover the playoffs. We'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. It's the off season. So, we have some chill streams over here. And then Wednesday, Hoops Crush. And then Thursday, another Blazers Uprise Live. And maybe I'll get a stream with Steven on at some point next week. We'll see. We'll see. I want to stream with him like once every 2 weeks or so. It's probably just going to be random. So, anyway, we're out of here. Shout out to BetUS TV. Have yourselves a good rest of your night. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!